Joe Rogan reacts, unseen strategy revealed. Crawford and Shakur's secret blueprint. That was the phrase that stopped people mid-scroll, because when Joe Rogan says something like that, it usually means there is a layer most fans completely missed. This is not about trash talk or highlight reels. This is about what happens underneath the surface when elite minds collide. Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson are not just fighters, they are planners, chess players wearing boxing gloves. And when their names are mentioned in the same strategic conversation, it tells you something serious is being unpacked. This matters because most fans watch punches, but the real fight often happens before the first bell even rings. Joe Rogan's reaction. Joe Rogan did not react like a hype man, and that is what made it hit harder. Instead of excitement, there was that pause, the kind that signals respect for something deeply calculated. He talked about patterns, discipline, and how certain fighters operate 2 or 3 moves ahead without making it obvious. Rogan has watched thousands of fights and trained with high-level athletes, so when he leans forward and slows his voice, it usually means he has spotted something rare. His reaction framed Crawford and Shakur not as flashy stars, but as quiet tacticians who build wins piece by piece. Terrence Crawford's blueprint. Crawford's approach has always confused opponents because it does not look aggressive until it is too late. He gathers data early, makes subtle reads, and then shifts rhythm like flipping a switch. Joe pointed out how Crawford uses patience as a weapon, letting opponents think they are safe while he maps their habits. This is not passive fighting. It is controlled pressure disguised as calm. The scary part is that once Crawford solves the puzzle, the fight changes instantly, and very few boxers ever recover from that moment. Shakur Stevenson's layered control. Shakur operates in a different rhythm, almost like he is slowing the fight down for everyone else. Rogan highlighted how Shakur's defense is not just about avoiding punches, but about dictating where exchanges even happen. His foot placement, angles, and distance control quietly drain opponents before damage ever shows on their face. What makes this dangerous is how clean it looks, because casual viewers might think nothing is happening while Shakur is winning every second. It is dominance without chaos, and that is hard to beat. The shared philosophy. What really caught Rogan's attention was how similar their thinking is despite different styles. Both fighters prioritize control over emotion, discipline over impulse. They do not chase moments, they create them. This shared philosophy suggests that their success is not accidental. It is engineered through preparation and restraint. When fighters think like this, they reduce randomness, and boxing becomes less about chance and more about execution. Why most fans miss it? Rogan made it clear that these strategies are almost invisible unless you know what to look for. Fans react to knockouts and flurries, but the real dominance often shows up in positioning, timing, and the absence of mistakes. Crawford and Shakur win exchanges before they happen, and that subtlety gets lost in highlight culture. Understanding this changes how you watch fights, because suddenly the quiet moments become the loudest statements. Mental warfare. Beyond physical skill, Rogan emphasized the psychological pressure these fighters apply. Opponents begin to hesitate, second-guess, and abandon their game plan. That hesitation is fatal at the elite level. Crawford and Shakur force fighters to fight themselves first, and by the time punches land, confidence is already gone. This mental erosion is not accidental, it is part of the blueprint. What this means for the division. If more fighters adopt this mindset, the sport evolves. Crawford and Shakur represent a future where intelligence and patience outweigh reckless aggression. Rogan's reaction hinted that this could influence how upcoming fighters train and think about winning. It is not about throwing more punches, it is about throwing the right ones at the right time, or sometimes not throwing at all. Crawford's mid-fight adjustments. One detail Joe Rogan subtly emphasized was how Crawford does his best work after the fight has already settled into a rhythm. He does not rush conclusions. He lets patterns repeat just long enough to confirm what he is seeing. Once that confirmation hits, the adjustment is surgical, sometimes as small as a half step or a timing change. Opponents often do not realize the shift until the damage starts piling up, and by then the window to respond is gone. This ability to evolve inside the fight is what separates high-level champions from all-time greats. Shakur's risk elimination. Rogan also touched on how Shakur removes chaos from boxing, which is something very few fighters truly manage. His game is built around minimizing variables, forcing opponents into predictable lanes where mistakes become inevitable. This does not mean he avoids engagement. It means he chooses it with precision. When risk is reduced, confidence grows, and Shakur uses that calm to stay several steps ahead. It is a style that frustrates opponents and fans alike, but it wins consistently at the highest level. Training beyond the gym. Another layer Rogan hinted at was preparation that goes far beyond physical training. Film study, pattern recognition, and mental rehearsal play a massive role in how both fighters perform under pressure. They are not just reacting in the ring, they are executing scenarios they have already lived through in their minds. This kind of preparation creates a sense of familiarity even in chaos, which is why they rarely look surprised. When the moment comes, it feels routine to them, and that is a dangerous advantage. Opponent frustration factor. Joe Rogan also pointed out something that does not show up on punch stats but changes fights completely: frustration. When fighters cannot touch what they see, their confidence starts leaking fast. Crawford and Shakur both thrive in this space, letting opponents swing at shadows while staying just out of reach. That frustration leads to rushed decisions, widened openings, and emotional mistakes. By the time opponents realize they are fighting uphill mentally, the fight is already slipping away. Why this strategy is hard to copy. The final insight Rogan hinted at is why more fighters do not fight like this even if they understand it. This level of control demands patience, discipline, and trust in preparation, especially when crowds demand action. Many fighters abandon the plan to satisfy the moment, but Crawford and Shakur never do. They are comfortable being misunderstood early if it means being dominant late. That separation in mindset is what makes their blueprint rare, and why it continues to work when others fall apart. Joe Rogan's comments opened a larger discussion about how we judge greatness in combat sports. Is it raw power, or is it control? Is it excitement, or is it inevitability? Crawford and Shakur force fans to confront those questions. Their blueprint challenges traditional expectations and rewards those who look deeper than surface-level action. The blueprint for longevity. Perhaps the most important takeaway Rogan implied is how this approach extends careers. Fighters who rely purely on aggression often burn out early, but strategic control preserves both body and mind. Crawford and Shakur fight smarter, not harder, and that allows them to stay sharp deeper into their careers. This blueprint is not just about winning now, it is about lasting relevance. If this insight added value, show support by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing your perspective in the comments so the discussion keeps building.